4. Yo, what's up, faders? Welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan. I am your host, Johnny.
And I'm Tom Tokyo.
That's right. And as you fine folks know, Got Faded Japan is about two dudes, booze.
Japan in the news.
That is right. And Thomas, do you know what episode this is?
Right now this is what, 596 maybe?
596. Boy, you are close. This is episode number 595. And faders, we have something very special in the works today. We have the powerhouse of old school meets new school comic book influence hardcore punk rock from New York on the show. Once again, I would like to sincerely welcome Amanda and Michael from Bad Mary on Got Faded Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This is awesome. It's good to connect with you again through the magic of screens.
We just like talking to you.
Well, I like listening to your music. So, I mean, we're both in the same boat, right?
That's great.
That's fantastic. And you guys were on the show about a year ago in 2019. I think it was April. Maybe it was no, it was like 2 years ago. It was 2019 on episode 475, I think.
Yeah, it was like August, I think, of 2019.
I am just so bad today. Oh, faders, if you didn't know, I'm not drinking. Tom's not drinking. This is like two dudes, booze, Japan in the news. Not really, actually. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning right now, and I'm on my first cup of coffee. Tom doesn't drink coffee. And you guys, what time is it over there in New York?
About 7 p.m.
7 p.m. I've had like my 5 coffees for the day. So you got to catch up, Johnny. You got some.
I'll drink faster. Story of my life. Oh my gosh. So guys, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so good to see you guys. And we've got a million questions to catch up. And faders, I'm serious. Before, if you listen to this episode now, go back and listen to episode number 475 and you learn about Bad Mary if you don't know about Bad Mary already, because these guys, you guys rock. You guys really rock. Like when you guys are on stage, you guys turn the club upside down. And I'm not bullshitting. I'm not just saying that. You guys performed. You came to Tokyo and you performed at my venue at one of my shows. And it was like this crazy epic day. We had like maybe 9 bands performing. You guys were there from the very beginning. You're hanging out for like hours and hours and hours, meeting all the fans, meeting the other band members and stuff, dancing, enjoying, drinking a little bit and stuff. And then around like 11 o'clock at night and stuff, you guys performed and the place went bananas. I have no idea how you guys did it, but you guys had so much energy on that stage. It was incredible. I was exhausted. I was like, oh God, I think I got to switch to tequila just to keep me going. But you guys get on stage and boom, it was like a nuclear bomb went off. Anyway, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And whatever you guys did for energy, if it was like sushi, Japanese green tea, if it was like just like jet lag, just catching up or just fading away, I don't know. I need to learn your secret because that was just unbelievably awesome. Unbelievably awesome.
Mike is a robot. So he plugged in and recharged his batteries like right in the wall.
Computes.
Yep.
You know what? For me, it's sugar-free Red Bull. And while in Japan, it's living off of 7-Eleven rice balls, really. Or their onigiri. The onigiri from the for 100 yen a piece. You know, you get yourself an onigiri, and I'm set for a little while.
7-Eleven kept us alive, man.
Yeah, 7-Eleven kept us alive.
But no, they had. I'm more of like a Monster Energy person. I feel like Mike and I each have our energy drink of choice, and we just pound one before the set, and are like, "Let's go!" But you guys, you had Coca-Cola energy.
Yeah,
I think in Japan, and we I'm a Coke Zero. When I'm not looking for like the monster level energy, like I'll go to Coke Zero if I've already had like 17 coffees and I'm just like, I need something different. But that was like anywhere I could find that. I was like, this stuff is great. And then we came back here and I'm like, it's not anywhere. And like now we have it, but that helped.
It took a while.
It took a while.
I've been a gamer my entire life, so I'm very familiar with Mountain Dew of all varieties. So Mountain Dew, whether it's sugar-free or diet Mountain Dew or regular Mountain Dew, that's always a go-to. But Red Bull is kind of my pre-show ritual of choice. Like in a half hour, usually a half hour before Bad Mary starts a set, I will completely down a Red Bull
In one sip.
in like one sitting, throw the can away, and then by the time the set starts, it's kicked in.
That's awesome. That's the secret. Red Bull, Mountain Dew, and Coca-Cola energy drinks. Okay, that's awesome. By the way, that Coca-Cola energy drink, that's like 10,000 calories. It's just pure sugar.
I got the zero. I got the zero kind because I read that. I saw the numbers and I was like, that's a high number. It was all in Japanese, I think, on the back. So I was like, that number is probably the sugar number. So I'm going to go with the other one. But I know I went with the zero because I believe you. It's like, that would be a whole different kind of energy. I feel like it'd make it through like the first 2 songs like really fast, and then it would be like, okay, now I'm.
Yeah, you always know how much Red Bull I've had based on how fast the count off for the opening song is,
and how big your wings are.
Yes, exactly. The wings come and go, but the size of the wings is equivalent to the size of the Red Bull.
Well, in my book, you're an angel, so you've always got wings. Oh, hey.
And
Amanda's laughing. She's like, no.
Those are devil wings.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right. We all know, like me and Tom, we know the origin of Bad Mary, and we've got a lot of new faders listening. So can we have like an elevator pitch of the origin story of Bad Mary?
Ooh. Well, I was working in the lab. Okay.
It looks like you're still in the lab, dude. Your office is awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It makes when I work from home, when I work for stuff and I'm working on stuff, right? And whether it's Bad Mary related or other things that I'm producing, it makes it so much fun to like want to just waste a whole day down here. But our origin story.
I would say we started as like a party covers band.
Yes, in probably about 11 years ago now. We were supposed to celebrate our 10th anniversary in 2020, but obviously
we go up to 11.
Yep, exactly. Stuff got in the way. So yep.
Just embraced it.
we started a cover band at the university that we all went to, Hofstra University in New York, and David, our guitar player,
elevator pitch.
Oh, all right. So David, our guitar player, is a professor at Hofstra University, and he started a cover band that he runs every single year. And Amanda and I were in that band. Go.
Okay, so that band still exists to this day. So our band is like an offshoot of that band, David and the Hendersons. And we played the drama department parties. Again, all covers. And after graduation, we were the first group that we were all going to still be living in New York. So we were like, do we want to keep playing? Answer, absolutely yes.
Yes.
We did have a couple of lineup changes. Rory Levin is actually a character in our song Disaster Party. She's also a real person. She was our original drummer. She's still very, very close family friend of the band. And she got an internship in Florida. So when we lost Rory, sadly,
your dad joined.
Yeah, I was like, I know a guy. He might be interested. The guy was my dad. So I brought him in and he was totally down. And when I was like, when I was an embryo, he was in punk bands and stuff. So he hadn't played this kind of music in a bit. And when we started playing again, he was like all about it. And yeah, so the lineup is what it is now. After some changes, we became...
After a few years of doing the cover thing, we decided to start writing our own music, and then we changed our name to Bad Mary, and the rest has been, as they say, history.
Yeah. And we're very lucky to have David, because he knows how to animate and mix and record and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's a really great collaboration between all of us. We've put out, at this point, 5 releases,
800 albums,
5 releases, probably about 40 original songs. And David, our guitar player, who's a professor at Hofstra University, is also just a master when it comes to designing and stuff. So all of our logos, everything that we do, all of our videos are directed by him, our album art, all that stuff. So if you're looking at Bad Mary and you're like, wow, this got some great art and design and stuff like that, that's all David. But we all kind of write together. And it's a really great environment. And now, since COVID kind of took over everything, we've shifted our focus away from playing live because we can't play live. So we're really building up our online presence now, doing streaming. We're doing stuff on Twitch and Facebook and all that stuff. And that's been going as well as it could be.
So that's the Reader's Digest, and there's some details that we kind of threw out the window, but So is there anything that you know we left out? Because I don't know.
Yeah, you just answered all my questions. So,
Oh,
Faders,
good.
thank you very much
I
for
got
tuning
one. I
into
got
this
one.
episode of Got Faded Japan. It's been great, guys. Thank you.
I don't know. We can answer that question in like 10 minutes. We can answer that question in 6 hours. So it's really.
I want the 6 hour. Give me the 6 hour. I got time. Tom,
All
fuck
right.
your job. Stay home.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I wanted to ask like Amanda about this. What's it like to like rock out and tour with your dad? You maybe find yourself not going as nuts when touring, or
No, they go nuts.
No,
I've
we
seen
go
them.
nuts.
no? But I'm not necessarily talking about on stage. I mean more on stage, because like remember some of the bands we partied with, like when we were partying, they got pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah. Dead
Oh.
neck.
Dead Neck,
Honestly-
and Defies Logic, and yeah, a couple others. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
This was really fun. This was the first time in a while the Japan tour and the Japan trip that my dad and I had gotten the opportunity to really travel together. And it was also the first time we had been out of the country together. So there was a lot of just like, let's see some brand new stuff. And it was while it was fun, you know, playing was definitely fun. It's always fun. But playing in like brand new venues that we'd never been to before was just really awesome. It was like every day was a different discovery. And like my dad will be the first one to tell you, like, he's a big child. So like bringing him somewhere that he'd never been before and seeing his reactions to literally everything. And like he, like me, we both love food. We both love snacks. We also like just I'm going to bring it back to 7-Eleven. We love convenience stores. He loves 7-Eleven here. So when we walked into the first one, which was like the first day, it's my first stop. This is my third trip now. My first stop is always 7-Eleven because like Mike mentioned before, I love the onigiri. I cannot get it here. So that was my first seeing his reaction to, whoa, this place is really cool. And like every day, just kind of watching him see things that maybe I had seen in previous trips, but he hadn't yet, kind of like sitting back and being like, okay, wait till he sees this, and just seeing his eyes go wide and be like, this is awesome. Like that was fun for me getting to watch him experience like a lot of the touristy things, I think, even for the first time, like walking into the arcades and like, you know, Mike and I had done a bunch of arcade hopping our first trips, but like my dad, again, big kid, loved it. And just watching him play Taiko Drum Master for the first time, like he lost his shit. So like it was a great experience.
Or like the UFO crane games, her dad's like a master at those, and that was fun.
They're very
Really?
different here, though.
I
He
suck.
loves those.
Yeah, I think most of
those
us
are pretty hardcore. So to all our fans who haven't played one before, those are pretty hardcore. Did you get anything cool? I'm interested to know.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember because here they're different. So he walked past each and every one like it was a physical challenge. Like whether he ended up like playing that game or not, like anytime he saw one, you could see like the gears turning in his head. Like, okay, I wonder how this one works. Okay, I got to go back to this one because like his car is just full of his like winnings. Like he always has stuffed animals, like because he just collects them. And like his girlfriend has like there's 3 kids on that side of the family, so he's always like giving them this stuff. And he's like, guys, look what I got this time. And like I remember being a kid, and he'd just always have new stuffed animals because he dominated those games. So the technique in Japan is a little bit different from what I've seen. Where like here you have to grab it with the crane and kind of like pull it into the slot where it gets, you know, dropped, and then you take it out. There it looks like you almost have to knock it into like you use the crane to kind of push it instead of grabbing the I'm using my arms to explain this. I don't know if this is only audio. You will not see my arms.
No, we got video. We got video.
Yeah, we got video.
Good. So yeah, so he after the first couple times where he was trying to like grab it with the crane, you could see him being like, okay, this is a different machine. So like throughout the trip, every day you would see him see a different machine and be like, okay, this one's a challenge.
We're gonna beat this one. I think he also watched some players also like going through it. To me, I always get lost. I go into the arcades and I'm like, where are the fighting games? And that's where I spend my time with, you know, the guys chain smoking cigarettes and playing like Street Fighter 2. Well, okay, geez, they're still playing Street Fighter 2, which I wish we could do that here. Street Fighter 2 or like King of Fighters or Garu Mark of the Wolves if I want to go real deep. It's showing stuff like that. So that's usually where I go. So I didn't see Bill play too many of those games, but
he was excited that you could smoke inside.
Yeah.
He used to smoke cigarettes. He's since moved to the vape, but the fact that he could just kind of like walk around and be like, this is fine. Like he was thrilled about that. He was walking around like a dragon, just like
It's encouraged.
But yeah, no, it's an awesome experience to go with people to Japan. I love going to Japan. The tour was my 4th time there. So Amanda and I went the first time in 2016. We had gone, and it had been my 2nd time there. I studied abroad in Japan when I was in college. So it was cool to it's always cool to bring people to Japan and be like, hey, this is all the cool, fun stuff we can do. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful place. I wish we were there right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're here right now and we miss you.
Well, let me get let me get some tickets so get a flight out.
Get that shot and get over here. I got a stage for you guys to perform on.
I'm getting my shot Monday, man.
You're getting your shot one day? All right, awesome.
Monday.
All right, cool. Congratulations.
We're jealous. We haven't rolled those out here yet.
It's real quick over here, so we're hoping. Bad Mary is trying. Fingers crossed.
I still have another 3 weeks to
Yeah,
my shot. I'm the last one in the band, I think, because David is
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
My dad just got his appointment, and then I'm the slow poke. I was the first one, I think, with an appointment, but it's the latest date. So I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it was real rough at the beginning of booking appointments. It was real rough, but fingers crossed. You can't see it on camera, so fingers crossed is we're trying to come back in December. So
awesome. Yeah, we'll be here.
We'll be in touch to see how we can make this happen the best way possible. I know things are kind of up in the air with being able to travel there, but it's definitely something that we've been discussing, and we've been talking to a couple of parties about how to, booking the tour the last time was really simple. And we worked with someone who really helped us out quite a bit, and she did a great job. And we were so impressed. She does. April did a great job with Interdo Management, I think is the name of the company. I hope I pronounced that right, but April did an amazing job. I mean, she was the one who got us in touch with you, Johnny. And the show at Knob was so much fun, but yeah, it was great. We had a great tour. So I've been talking with her again to book in December. And let's hope it works.
Fingers crossed, man. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. Speaking of the clubs, how are the clubs different from New York?
Well, it's hard for me to say this without making New York sound terrible.
Because it's not. We love New York.
Because it's not. We love New York and we love our clubs here. It's just when we would get to the clubs in Japan, there was a certain air of professionalism that we were really impressed by. We would show up to, we were playing it like we were the headliner at all the shows, which is amazing to have that honor. And you would have a sound check at like 2 p.m. for like a 10 o'clock slot. So we would get there, 1:30 or whatever. And the whole sound team would be there. It'd be 3 people. They'd set up everything. They'd sound check all your instruments. They'd spike where your amps need to go. They would write down all your settings.
I remember my dad would try to adjust stuff and they'd be like, no. We got even when he was setting up his drums and he was just like, all right, cool. Like he was just not used to.
It was just, there's a certain level of care that is really appreciated. And the sound technicians are unbelievable. In America, they're great too. We have some friends of ours that are awesome sound techs and do great works, but sometimes you'll play a club in New York and the guy will just walk outside and not really care.
Well, it's also too in New York, the sound check generally happens like right before you play or like right before the venue opens. So to have that feeling of preparedness from that early on in the day, like when you walked on stage, you already knew like everything's already set, everything's already checked, everything's probably double checked, we're good to go. And we knew that this afternoon before getting here for a 10 o'clock show. Whereas like in New York, like they'll have a full set before your set that they finish sound checking like earlier in that slot. So you get like the 10 or 15 minutes either before you play or like right before they open the doors.
And so you definitely lose like an element of surprise because of that. And it's a bit of a more rushed experience. The Japanese experience for us in the clubs there was so much more, it felt so much more like a professional tour. Also, I will say this much. We play with some great bands over here in the States, like amazing lights out. Some of our best friends are in some of the best bands I've ever heard. And I was so impressed though, over in Japan, how good every single band was. I remember going to our first show at 20,000 volts or Denatsu. And I remember doing our sound check first and just packing stuff up. And then the second band came on to do a sound check. And I think it was either a band called Sneakin' Nuts or Riot Missile, who we're friends with and wonderful people. And they were just, their sound check blew the room apart. So I remember as a band, we all looked at each other. We're like, well, we need to play very, very well or we're going to look very, very foolish because the bands were so good. And there's something amazing.
That first night was lights out. But even still, like every night, like we played with a lot of bands while we were over there, and every night it was a different lineup. I don't think like we saw like some friends came back towards the end to see us play again, but we never played with the same band twice while we were there. And a lot of times with that many acts, like you will find one or something you're like, that wasn't exactly like that's not my favorite, or like, they were a little off or what, like not so much. No, I'm just saying like if you play with that many bands, like
I'm sorry,
you're bound
what you
to find one that maybe isn't your style, or is it like every single band, every single act that we saw throughout the entire tour was lights out. And it was just a very cool experience. Cause you know, when you're playing over the course of however many shows, you might see like 40 or 50 different acts. So it's like, you think law of averages, like, one of them is bound to be like, that's okay. No, every single act was awesome. So it was just as much fun to perform as it was to be able to watch all of these musicians that for me were brand new, you know? Yeah. So it was very, very cool.
It was beautiful, really.
And everything was on time.
That's very punctual here.
That's very punctual.
I mean, that is, I will say that is one of the best aspects of performing. It's like, well, our set's at 9:15. So, you know, you would assume that we'd be on in New York at 9:30, 9:45, but in Japan, you're on at 9:15 p.m. That's when you play. So that was awesome. And it was just, oh my gosh, the crowds and the audiences were so into it. There's nothing cooler than being a band. First of all, as someone who is like complete sappy over this right now, as someone who has been incredibly interested and has an incredible admiration for an appreciation for so much stuff that has come from Japan, like my entire life as a kid, everything I liked, like so much of the stuff that I grew up loving and liking and appreciating has been Japanese art, Japanese games, Japanese characters, comic books, TV, all that stuff. To go to a club to where you're playing the music you wrote that is in some way inspired by stuff from Japan in some way. I always joke around that a lot of my music writing is inspired by video game music and anime theme songs. And to see like big
after you're done.
Okay. To see like a big Japanese punk rock dude with like a 2-foot tall pink mohawk scream in my face my lyrics back at me is just, there is no greater joy and honor as a musician than to hear or see that. I was completely taken back by that. And by the second chorus, they all knew where the O's and the ahs and the heys go. And what lovely, lovely, amazing people. Unbelievably gracious for the crowds in Japan.
We're flattered.
Now I'm emotional because I didn't know you were going to bring that into it. Yeah, know that. To see people that you know sing lyrics back at you is even kind of like surreal, but to be in a crowd of people that it's like, this is the first time that you're hearing it and you're already into it and like singing the chorus right back at us, that's a whole nother level. Yeah.
Or like when we would finish a show and we would go out to hang out to like where our merch table was, and people would come up and they want to get their CD signed or get a t-shirt or something. And then someone would come up to us from Japan and, you know, listen, we don't speak Japanese that well at all. I try my hardest to speak as much as I can.
You do pretty good, Mike. You do pretty good. I was impressed. I was impressing you at the convenience store. I was like, holy shit, I don't have to translate. Nice.
I appreciate that, but it's really nice. You know, people come up to you and they'll you know, they're doing their best to try to speak English. I'm doing my best to try to speak Japanese. We're meeting in the middle. We understand each other, but they'll come up to us and go, I found you guys on Twitter, or I found you guys on Spotify, or I found you guys through a radio show that we were getting played on in Japan. A guy by the name of Mike Rogers does a radio show, and that's how we really started our Japan tour, was that he started playing our music on his radio show in Tokyo. And we were like, well, let's go. And we worked it out with Mike, and he hooked us up with April, and that's what happened.
That was
Yeah, I
surreal.
think it's Metropolis.
Oh, yeah?
Video.
Maybe, I'm not sure. He does a lot of different stuff, but Mike Rogers is great. He's been great to us. He directed one of our videos when we were over there. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the one that did Addicted? Did he
Yes.
direct
Yeah.
the Addicted video?
Yes, he did.
Cool. What club was that?
That was the last night we were there.
Garrett
Yeah.
Odagawa.
Get it, Otogawa.
Garrett
Okay.
Utagawa.
Yeah. There's a bigger club like upstairs from it. This was like
Cyclone? Is that the
yeah,
other
Tokyo
club that it's part of?
Tokyo Cyclone?
Because it's like a club, and this is like part of that club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know the venue. That's in down towards Koenji.
I think
Okay.
Okay, very cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So we he shot that video there during like our sound check. And it's also nice, I will say this much. It's also nice to always have a green room. That's wonderful. Or like an area to hang out. Like even at Knob, you had a nice place that we could put like all of our instruments, and we didn't have to worry about stuff getting stolen. And I like Knob. Knob was a great venue. I love that room. I love that room, dude. That room was so much fun. And it was really packed. Cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I try to pack them. I do my best to pack the venues.
You do a good job.
That was a great show.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Before I forget, because this is what you were talking about, like how you were influenced by like anime and even music and stuff like that. We've been lately kind of watching a lot more anime, and I watched Mike has definitely, his knowledge of anime and the video games and everything is much deeper than mine. So lately,
I can tell by your background. I mean, there's a lot going on back there.
A lot, quite a bit, quite a lot of money spent over years and years.
And it's well placed too. But lately we've been trying to watch more shows, and like I've been getting a lot more into it. And the more different theme songs that I hear, I can hear it. Like I'm like, okay, I hear where it comes from, and I can hear like I don't know if I knew it because you would say like how much you were influenced by this stuff, but in my own hearing of the music and everything, like I can hear where he drew from, that like bits and pieces end up in our music. And I'm like, I love it. I absolutely love it. And like, I'll find myself like if I'm driving in the car or something trying to, because not all of it's on Spotify, but there'll be like some on YouTube. Like I will be searching on YouTube, like theme songs from this show. And like, that's what I'm listening to in the car now. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
being like into that stuff over in the States, like is I'm not sure what it's like over in Japan, but being into like video games, anime, comic books, manga over here in the States, it's like I used to get made fun of for it when I was younger.
But now all did back in the day.
Yeah,
we all did. You get
now
beaten
it's cool.
up.
Yeah, you get beaten up, and now it's cool. And ultimately, it's weird. It is weird, and
I got beaten up for being a skater.
I have a theory. I have a theory about that. I think it's just the power of the internet. Because maybe similar for me, because like I was called a loser, a geek for doing that. But I think like once all these people like came online and started coming together, then like now we're the majority suddenly.
It's crazy how that worked out, and I'm really happy that it's not something that's frowned upon anymore as an adult to have all these comic books and video games and all that stuff. It's kind of like, oh yeah, he's just a quirky dork. And that's really what Bad Mary is. We're a bunch of dorks.
You got to like what you like.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you like, and don't let anybody tell you that it's dorky.
Awesome. Yeah. Not getting beaten up anymore. Oh God. I remember high school really sucked.
I'm so sorry, John.
It's all right. No, it made me the man who I am now. Oh,
yeah.
That's right. A brilliant artist, might I add.
Well, I gotta say, you guys are extremely creative. Your music videos are so impressive. I just saw recently the Little Drummer Boy video. I didn't even know that existed. I was kind of like just brushing up and stuff. I was like, I wanted to see what's called Space Girl again, and I saw the Little Drummer Boy video. I was like, what the heck? What is this? It's awesome. It's really well done.
That's also David. That's David.
David's the man. David's the man. Where's David?
He's so good. Probably home.
He's probably animating something and not telling us
until
we see the finished product. And be like, by the way, I did this yesterday. Like, what did you
when he showed us the video for the beginning of the movie for the Return of Space Girl album that we put out in 2019, we were like, hey, let's make a concept album, and we'll do it in a half hour because that's at punk rock tempo. we went
our Prague
our Prague album. So we went into David's basement where we rehearse, and he was like, "You guys want to see something?" As we like walk down the stairs at his basement, we're like, usually when David says, "Do you want to see something?" it's usually something incredibly impressive and completely takes us by surprise. So he shows us about 2 or 3 minutes of the movie. And he was on sabbatical from his job as a professor, and on sabbatical they got to learn stuff. So he had to learn. He wanted to teach himself how to animate. So over the course of like 6 months, he taught himself how to animate, which he now uses in live theater for projections and stuff like that. And he shows us the first 3 minutes of what would become the Space Girl movie, and we were just like, "How long have you been working on this?" He was like, "Oh, a couple weeks."
But what really got me is that he showed us the first bit, but then it went into the next song.
Yeah.
And normally he just does a video for a song. And I was like, this is going into the next track. What's going on here? And he was like, oh, it's going to be a full length. I'm doing the whole album. And like my brain exploded. So that was his job basically when he's on sabbatical. Like you spend that whole day. So he was animating some days for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And meanwhile, he's teaching himself how to do this while he's doing it. And you brought up Little Drummer Boy, which that was kind of like a precursor. That was one of his first like forays into trying to animate stuff. So that was before he had gone on sabbatical and decided like, okay, this is the project that I'm going to embark on during my time off from teaching. Because you do have to learn something, but it could be something like I forget the last sabbatical because you do it every handful of years. And it was like some other design element that he had done the last time. So
the time before that, David was supposed to take a class on making wigs, and then the class got canceled. So then he made a movie.
Wigs to movies.
Yeah, he was like, listen, he was like, I'll make a movie. So he made a movie on sabbatical last time. So this time so I guess with both sabbaticals, he's made films. It's just one of them was animated, but he did that for a video that we had made for our cover of Silent Night, which has been on YouTube for a while now. We want to do a Christmas song like every year. We've only done 2, so we've fallen behind. But he takes these like old, like religious paintings. I think they're the illuminated manuscripts, I think is what they're called. And he animates them because they're so funny when you animate them. And there's so much weird, like medieval art in there.
They
like
are
it's
weird.
Like, with the horse with the trumpet coming out of its butt. It's like, what?
It's like Monty Python.
Exactly. It's very Terry Gilliam. And I think David grew up in England, even though he was born in Hawaii, but he grew up in England. So he's very much influenced by English humor, Monty Python. Like, and he grew up when that stuff was like really popular.
Wow, that's cool.
I can't tell you how many ridiculous comments we got to, because in the Silent Night video, baby Jesus just starts playing electric guitar with sunglasses. And like, there are some people that were like, this is great. And then there were other comments that were just like, this is sacrilegious. Jesus, what are you doing?
I mean,
like,
Jesus would never do this.
Yeah.
I think he shred. Yeah. I think he shred.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like, wait a second. Jesus should be cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're making him look cool, man. What's wrong with you?
That's what we thought, but what are you going to do?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know we're kind of running out of time. Tom's got to leave in a little bit, but I got a couple of questions that I really got to ask you guys.
Go for it.
I think about like 8 months ago, you guys streamed a video with Punk Ass Summer, and you guys know Punk Ass Summer is like an amazing punk rock band down here in Tokyo. And you guys are in New York, they're in Tokyo, and together 2 punk rock mega bands created a song together, which was a cover by Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? How did that happen?
So
with our powers combined.
Yeah, it was like it was like making.
You guys were like Voltron.
Yeah, there we go. We went to the same place. So Punk Ass Summer reached out to me. One of the folks from Punk Ass Summer reached out to me, Tom, at the time. He reached out to me and he was just like, hey, we want to do like this cross-world cover with you guys. Do it in like a Zoom style video. What do you guys think about it? And it took the band all of a second to be like, absolutely, let's do this. So they reached out to us. We went back and forth about which song to do. I'm like, why don't we do Everybody Wants to Rule the World? People seem to really love that song. And they were like, let's do it.
Because it's a great song.
So they actually, it's an amazing song. To their credit, they put everything together. I played my bass, Amanda did her vocals, David did guitar, and they actually strung everything together and made the whole video. So like we had what I would say, we had the easy part. Like we had to just film and record ourselves. And some of the stuff I think that in that recording and in that video is amazing. And when we shared it, it was like the pandemic was getting real bad in the States, real bad. And when we shared it,
New York.
especially New York was destroyed for a long time with the pandemic. And when we shared it during the pandemic at that point, it actually like, it made people so happy that we have like this kind of unification between two bands from totally different parts of the world, and just came together and put that together. And they did amazing stuff on it. It sounds lovely. I mean, your voice with, I think her name is Rie's voice, their bass player, is it's like my favorite part of the song. Like I can listen to that chunk of the song on repeat.
It was just very nice to also be able to create something, because that was, again, like right at the beginning when we couldn't play out. And even as a band ourselves, it was like we couldn't really record. And Mike and I were doing these acoustic streams, and we were trying to make whatever we could work to keep going. So that was just a boost of morale for us as far as being able to work on and create something, especially with Punk Ass Summer, because they're a great band. So that was like honored to be thought of as a band that they wanted to work with. And it was very interesting to be so individualized in the recording process too. Like I had to record my vocals entirely separate. Like everybody did all of their stuff separate. So when we finally did see the finished product, it was surprising, and it was great, and it was new even for us to watch it, you know?
Wow. And you guys did such a great job. It is such a great cover. I mean,
thank you.
Wow. It's really good. I can't believe that's the process, but wow, you guys nailed it.
And they're such such great performers. That band, seeing that band perform live is amazing. I've told them time and time again that, so we grew up on Long Island in New York, and I say on Long Island, not in Long Island. I know that might technically be grammatically incorrect, but that's how we Long Islanders say it.
If you say in Long Island, we know you're not from Long Island.
That's right. So I grew up on Long Island, and they sound like, so I grew up in a town called Hicksville. It's actually the town Billy Joel's from. Cool. And the next town over is a town called Levittown. If you're familiar with the Billy Joel song Allentown, it's actually originally it was actually Levittown originally, but I think he changed it. I could be wrong.
Copyrights,
who knows? Yeah, maybe, who knows. So there's a town next door in Levittown, and then there's another town nearby you, which is Amityville and Massapequa, which are two towns on Long Island. And
we're just going to tell you.
Yeah, we're just
all
going
the towns on Long
So
Island.
this is the origin song.
Yeah.
This is the origin. So
story,
Taking Back Sunday is from Massapequa, Amityville, that area, and Brand New is from Levittown. So when I was in high school, like every band was like trying to capture that lightning. And when I saw Punk Ass Summer play and they performed, I'm like, you guys sound like home to me. You have to come to New York. They will love you. And I've been trying to get them to come for 2 years, and maybe we can make something happen.
Yeah. No, Punk Ass Summer is great. Whenever they play, something breaks. Bones, teeth, guitar strings, something breaks. It's part of the show.
It's great. They I mean, it's amazing. They're great.
Oh, they're absolutely fantastic. I remember I was bartending, and I think it was like one of the first times I saw them perform in Tokyo, and they just finished playing, and Tom came down to get a drink and stuff. So he comes to the bar, he sits down, and I'm like, dude, you guys are fucking great, dude. That was awesome. He's like, I broke my tooth. I'm like, what? He opens up his mouth, his blood, and he's got like a kind of like a half shaved to like tooth, whatever. Oh, wow. Dude, I was just like, well, that's what it takes. Then that's what it takes.
Hey, listen.
That's so metal.
Yeah, that's really committing to the craft.
Yeah. And he drunk a beer with a broken tooth and blood going into the beer, dude. Now that's even more punk rock.
That's the most punk rock ever.
Yes, totally. I got to ask you guys a couple of other questions.
Sure.
I know Tom's got to get out of here soon. Okay. Off of the Return of Space Girl, you've got a song called, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Venetia Fair.
Venetia Fair.
That's it. Venetia Fair. What is Venetia Fair? I've heard this song like 3 times. I'm like, what the fuck is it? I know you say something in the song. It's like something to blame or someone to blame or something, but what does that mean?
Venetia Fair is the name of the girl at the time. Now she would be like 100-something years old, but she is the person who named Pluto, the planet, and it's all about her and how like Pluto's not a planet anymore. So it's kind of like the bridge that at my age I've been at my age I if I don't sing it I don't remember it. So at my age I've been largely indifferent, but I suppose I'd prefer to remain a planet is actually a direct quote of what she said when asked about like how do you feel about Pluto not being considered a planet anymore. So that is kind of about her experience, and it's like she was
Yeah, she was a little girl when she named the planet, and it's pretty much her reaction to Pluto not being a planet anymore and all that. So it's
like imagine if you named Saturn and then one day they were just like, by the way, it's not a planet anymore. How would you feel?
yeah, I would feel pretty
I'd be
rough.
upset.
Devastated. I'd start drinking.
I feel like I was robbed, man.
Exactly. I think that's it. And she was, she was very nice. It's like, oh well, I prefer for it to remain a planet, but what can you do?
What can you do? Oh man. Okay, so now I got that answer. Okay, so let's see here. Tom, do you have
I
any
really
questions?
can't remember the lyrics unless I'm singing it.
Yeah,
that's
that's a
crazy.
Someone to blame.
Yeah, actually, like, since we're Japan centric, I just want to know like what you guys' favorite place was in Japan, outside, of course, outside of like the venues and the clubs, obviously.
Okay. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I have such a touristy answer. It's the robot restaurant. I want to go there every day.
Oh,
I had
God,
such a
no.
good time. No, I loved it. But other than that, Izukogen as a place in general. My touristy answer is robot restaurant, but Izukogen. We stayed at the Hanafubuki Ryokan there.
Mhm.
That is my happy place. If I am having a stressful day, if I am just in a bad mood, I will try to send myself back there, back to that town, and just kind of zen myself out. That was my favorite place. I had the best night's sleep I have ever had in my life, even to this day. And it was just the most relaxed, I think, and most connected and also disconnected I felt at the same time.
Izu's nice. Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we last time we had gone to Izu, we had done like a hike through the Jogasaki coast and all that stuff is really beautiful. And the private hot springs are wonderful there at the onsen and the ryokan there. It's a magical place. It's really unbelievable. Just so much relaxation. For me,
which I don't get a lot of.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of that here.
Cramming it in.
For me, it's a few places. I'm a big, obviously, I love pretty much all Tokyo. Tokyo is like one of my favorite places on the planet. Obviously, very, very, very struck by the lights of Electric Town in Akihabara. But I love Kyoto. I love Arashiyama. I love going to like the monkey park up there and hanging out with the monkeys or walking through it's all touristy stuff. But you know what? Most of the time I've been to Japan, it's been as a tourist. So I love those places. We loved Osaka. I thought Kobe was a really cool city when I went in college. Actually, in college too, we went up to Aomori, and we got to actually march in that festival in Aomori that had all like the lit up floats, which was that was unbelievable. What?
Our house just burped.
It's a water hammer in our pipes.
Oh, I thought you had an earthquake.
No.
Usually it's on our side. Usually it's like, oh yeah, everything's cool here. Just let's continue with the interview.
So yeah, we got to march in that parade. So we all got dressed up in the yukata, and we marched in the parade in Aomori, and it was unbelievable. Wow, what a great experience. So there's a lot of Japan I love.
Okay, cool. Wow, great answer. Okay, last question. Tour tips. A lot of people listen to this show. A lot of bands listen to this show. What are some tips that you can give about touring in Japan or anywhere? Like, for example, bring extra underwear or don't drink too much or, something like that.
I mean, yes, bring extra underwear, but I definitely overpacked clothes in general. We stayed in an Airbnb and I was like, oh, we have a washing machine. I didn't need to overpack all of these clothes. So don't feel like you need to bring your entire closet with you. Like I did. I didn't need to. That's a big one. 7-Eleven is an amazing resource for keeping you alive. They have good food. Go to 7-Eleven.
Wait, we're not sponsored by them.
I just love them
We are.
so much.
Oh, well, there you go.
No. I wish 7-Eleven, if you're listening to us out there, we'd love to be sponsored by you. Please call us.
Oh, yes.
Not kidding.
Yeah, that's definitely a great tour tip.
No, but I would say that if you're looking for affordable food, a lot of the food is honestly like affordable and
it's quite
delicious, but
affordable.
like 7-Eleven is everywhere. It's open. There is going to be something in there that's delicious. That is maybe like 100 yen, and it will get you through to the next show. So do not be afraid of 7-Eleven. They are an amazing resource.
I would say as a tour tip for Japan, well, anywhere, it's always like, make sure you're eating enough, make sure you're sleeping enough, make sure you're drinking enough water. But that's basic about parts of life. Touring Japan, what we realized was, one, we brought way too much merch. And it cost us a lot of money to bring that stuff over. And a lot of it's like, just be cognizant of that. Of how much you're actually taking with you. You will probably need less than you think you do. Not because you're not going to sell any of it, just because it's heavy. And like certain things, like we brought T-shirts that had our name written in katakana on them.
I have one.
You do? You do?
Yes.
And
my wife loves it.
I love it. Great. They didn't sell as well as the shirts that we had that were in English. So our katakana shirts sell like crazy in America. And in Japan, our English shirts sell well. So, I think next time we're going to make sure that we have a shirt that definitely says like New York on it as well. New York punk rock or something like that.
We were asked about that. So we were like, kind of taking notes on like, okay, what would they want?
Yes.
Also something that is different about the clubs, and I don't know if it has changed because I've heard that it was like in the process of changing, but in New York, in America, like you can't smoke inside.
What?
No, you can't smoke inside. You might be able to get away with like
cigarettes inside.
No, this has been for a while. Like I remember being a kid and like there were smoking sections, but for a long time now, like you haven't been able to, if you're like in your own house, like they don't give a shit. But like if you're out at a restaurant or in a club or something like that, like you cannot smoke inside. And in Japan, you absolutely can. So as a vocalist, I will say that did take a little bit of getting used to in the beginning, and you kind of have to be aware that is going to be something that's different, especially if there's somebody like in the front row with a lit cigarette just kind of like breathing to the side of your face. That's
somebody, you mean like 50 people?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, come on, this is Tokyo, let's be honest.
I mean, like all the venues that we played at for the most part had like these submarine doors that you would open up to go like into the venue, and the second you would walk into like the area where you were playing, you'd get this like hit with it. And as someone who's like sort of, I don't know if I'm allergic to cigarette smoke, but I definitely don't handle it well. I was like, oh, okay, I need to prepare for this next time. So like next time we go, I'm definitely like bringing my allergy inhaler and all that stuff.
Yeah, I used to in college. I definitely I used to smoke. I used to smoke cigarettes. I have quit. It's definitely helped with the singing, but I wouldn't say it's something that I'm still like used to, but it definitely, I felt it in my throat again. And I was like, I remember this. Okay. And it felt thick. So like, you kind of have to like adjust for that. Know that that's going to be present in where you're playing.
Yes.
That's a good point. It's a really good point. The smoke.
Yes. Yeah. Smoke.
I'm used to it. We're all used to it. Tom smokes. Tom's 2 packs a day.
Wow.
I haven't smoked in a couple of days, dude. I've been trying to quit, but I've been doing a poor job. So like I'm on and off, and like probably now that we're at the weekend, I'll be off and away again.
It takes time. It's a process, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I got a kid though. My wife's ragging on me. And just, what don't do in front of the kid?
Oh.
Well, that's good, Tom. Oh man.
And earplugs.
Yes.
I always use them here. My dad does not. He's been playing drums for 9 million years. And like, he's at the point now where he's like, I never used them. So like my hearing's already gone, but like definitely, I'll tell that to people here in clubs, like just bring ear protection, because you want to be able to hear the music as long as possible.
Even if it's cheap ear protection, and for most places that you will damage your ears, it's not on stage. It's just hanging around waiting to play while the other bands are playing is where you'll probably do the most ear damage.
Yeah,
now,
I don't wear them when we play, but when we're
in
the crowd watching shows, I definitely.
The clubs in Japan are really loud, but like
In a good way.
Mixed to the point where like it's not a bad thing. Like it doesn't hurt. It's just loud. It's just volume. But I would always say bring ear protection and also bring enough underwear.
Underwear,
and
very important.
Super important.
Schedule downtime.
Yes,
that's
definitely.
another thing.
Take days off.
Take days off. Give yourself time to breathe, time to rest between shows, or you will burn out before the end of your tour.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know. Faders, you heard it here first. Oh man. So I'm underwear, earplugs, don't smoke. Fantastic. All right, we got it. What is next for Bad Mary?
So right now we're actually releasing a cover song every month of 2020. Yeah, of 2021. We've been releasing a cover song every single month. We're going to put together a cover album, which we're calling Rock and Roll Classics Volume 6. We don't know why. We think it's just really silly. So we're going to have that out probably in November with probably about 12 covers on it. And then we're going to start the process of writing something new for 2022. So maybe by late 2022, we'll have something brand new, original music that's brand new. We want to go to something a little bit more simpler after doing like the whole rock opera thing. We want to like scale it back and do something that's, thrashy, trashy, punk rock and roll. So,
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. When you guys, your album Killing Dinosaurs is all like old school punk kind of feel. It's got that energy, but it's got that rawness. And even the recording is a little like, a little gritty. And I just love that shit. It's like, even from the cover, from the music to the cover, it just screams the Clash and the Ramones. It's really awesome.
That's where we're drawing a lot of influence from. It's like the Ramones and Blondie are like two of the most important bands to the formation of
Blondie. Deborah, I should have said that. Sorry, Amanda. I'm like,
okay,
I love the Clash. She's
the
like,
Ramones and the Clash are great. No, I love the Ramones and the Clash.
Exactly.
I will say that we got the opportunity to see Blondie only a couple years ago,
yeah.
and they are awesome. They were awesome.
Still good.
And because they released an album only a couple years ago, which was great. But that's like my life goal is like to still be doing what we're doing, like
when we're old.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Keep on rocking and rolling. I mean, you guys are like, what, 5 deep in albums? I guess you got another 50 to go.
We'll get there. We'll get to 55.
You can do it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. And for the covers and stuff, you guys, I've heard like maybe 2 or 3 of your covers and they're all like 80s songs. Are you guys only going to do like 80s covers? Or are you going to do like 70s, maybe 60s? Don't go 50s. Please don't go 50s. Don't do that thing that the Misfits did.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that Project 55
or whatever. As far as we went back with White Rabbit.
White Rabbit is the oldest song I think that we have on the cover record. It's so we're doing from the late 60s probably through the 2010s. We want to kind of cover the whole
50 years.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not all rock and roll classics. Like it's a bunch of different stuff from a bunch of different periods. So it's fun.
We try to make them a little bit more.
Yeah. We play them in our style.
But that came about, I think, because we've been streaming
yes.
so much, especially this year, that we've been throwing more covers into our set. And we were like, it would be fun to do this. Why not? So here we are.
Yeah.
Also streaming, also something new. We have started a Twitch channel.
Yes.
It's twitch.tv/badmaryband. And David has done a lot of work in programming graphics and creating emotes, and like it's just been a lot of fun. Cool. It's the closest that we've gotten to being able to do like a live show because the interface is just so much fun. So
that's where we're going right from here.
Yeah.
So
fantastic. All right, awesome. So we're going to plug everything that you guys have in the show notes, Faders. So Faders, listen to this. Then go to the show notes and click on everything. Buy their merch. Listen to the music. Check out their music videos. Their music videos are incredible. And
thank you.
Your performances. Oh my God. The energy that you guys bring to the show is just second to none. Like, I was blown away because I was super tired at the end of the night when you guys performed at Knob, and then you guys just went on and just fucking crushed it. I think people in the audience are just like, whoa, this is fucking insane. And I think a lot of people found out about your band that night, and they told other people who told other people who told other people. So in December, if you guys can make it out here, I think there's going to be a lot more people at your shows, and your shows already had a lot of people.
Which is that would be unbelievable.
We're going to need more shirts.
We will bring the shirts. We'll bring the shirts in English and CDs.
That's awesome. So thank you so much for being on the show. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And yeah, learning about Bad Mary is just so super cool because I mean, your band is great. I mean, every album is fantastic. I think my favorite, as I said, is Killing Dinosaurs, just because I mean, the name is awesome. The name is so awesome. Who wants to kill a dinosaur? But yeah, I that's awesome. Faders, definitely check them out. And on that note, Tom, what do you think? We should get into the news.
It's
Yeah, we
news
can get some
time.
news in.
News. All right, cool. All right, we're gonna take a little break, Faders, and then when we're back, we're gonna have some news. And I'm gonna have more coffee. I need more coffee. It's too early for Johnny. All right, we'll see you in a minute.